Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now once more I am back with another build video, and this time it is for the Tornado 2. Now this is the T9 preparations for your ships. So what will you need for the Tornado 2? Now I have already discussed the Naga 2 in detail, so let's go through this ship. Now first of all, you already know that they have an increase to the number of weapons and low slots. They also have an increase to power grid, capacitor, and defense. Sorry. This makes it a really powerful ship overall, with a lot of bonuses being given to it for the particular reason of combat. So let's talk about what you're going to need for the ship. So the Tornado is generally a cannon vessel. It is also an armor plated vessel, so it is going to be used in both formats, for both brawling and for long range combat. It does shine in long range combat, but I am going to make a build especially for brawling as well. So first let's close off the first one, small autocannons, medium autocannons closed. Right, let's close all the small and mediums in strikes. So let's go with the large C types. So you're going to be running large C-type autocannons on it. Remember, there's a 90% reduction, so it only uses 10% of the cap. So don't really worry about it when it comes to power grid consumption. They aren't really going to finish off the power grid of the ship. And remember, everything besides shield booster ships can run, all the ships besides those that run shield boosters will run standard medium fits, so you don't have to worry about the power grid being overwhelmed with the big booster in any way. So there we go. 30 million, these are worth 30 million on the market, quite cheap. Autocannons, their optimal range is 4.8 with the 20-kilometer fall off. So you have about 25 kilometers of standard range with this particular weapon. When you upgrade it, you're going to get about a 10 by 30, so 40 kilometers with the autocannon. Now let's go to the large strikes. Strike cannons are also one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Looking at it, it's 38.64 kilometers with a 35 kilometer range on the accuracy fall off. That gives you a standard starting of just over 70 kilometers, so a nice long range fire weapon. However, due to the heavy usage of this particular weapon's power grid, remember, if you stack long range, your ship becomes slightly more unstable in terms of what you can put on in the low slot. So there we go with the first two big deductions on the ship in terms of weapons. Remember, it's 7 weapons for the ship and not 6 like the previous class, so increase for that duration. Let's go to mid slots. Since you are doing a lot of damage to armor, it's best to have infiltrators help you for your drones. If you are going to run a brawler fit with the autocannons, you're going to go with MK9 infiltrators. If not, you are going to go with the standard fit for constant damage, and that is going to be a Vesper or a Hammerhead. Now moving on, when it comes to a brawler fit, considering how upfront you can be with your Tornado, you can go and you can run double Nosferatu, or you can run a Nosferatu and double webs for the close range combat. It will make a big difference. These ships aren't extremely fast, but they are fast enough that they will take small amounts of damage, so you can heal them and use the enemy to supplement your loss. Remember, these are PvE builds, these aren't based for PvP. Okay, moving on from the electronic warfare, let's talk about the range build. You can run 1 target painter or 2 target painters depending on your preference. You can also run with that uh, a group armor repairer. So yes, let me just go down to this here. Group shield booster, group armor repairers. Right, so you can run 1 large group armor repairer. This here will help you a lot. Remember, your ship is an effective armor tank. It's always better to run the armor recovery on it, because then you have more overall defense on your vessel. If you want to play safer, you can go shield tank, but remember the amount of defense you have will be reduced due to you using a shield. You could also try to supplement the close range combat with the large shield booster. It's all up to you, but remember it does affect your overall performance and it does affect your capacitor in a massive way when you do use those modules. So moving on, let's get to the low slots. I will explain the range slots in a second. Okay, so sorry, we're not going to be going shield, we're going to go armor repairer. So the first thing that you're going to need is your medium armor repairer on the vessel. Now the reason why we're not going to touch large is almost 1,000 megawatts to hold. So you're going to go double armor repairer. So from your 6 slots, 2 are gone to armor repair. The next thing you're going to do is go armor hardener, and that is going to be 1 C-type adaptive armor hardener. That is going to effectively pull up your resistance. So we are now 3 slots down, remaining 2 slots. You're going to go straight to weapon. You're going to get the accelerator for this particular weapon type. It's not a heat sink. It's not a magnetic field. I'm pretty sure it's not a gyro. Oh no, it is a gyro stabilizer. Sorry. C-type gyro stabilizer is what you're going to need. 1 gyro stabilizer, 1 eagle tracking computer, and you now have 5 of your slots completed. You now have a lot of effective range and a lot of effective power. Remember, this is for the range fit. I'm gonna mess them up a little bit. You'll see the difference in a second. So with that particular setup, you can recover a lot of armor on your vessel, especially if you end up taking a lot of damage. And last but not least, for the last slot, you are going to run micro warp drive in the last slot of your vessel. This is going to give you the ability to run up and down in the close range combat, in the long range combat. But when it comes to close range combat, you're going to change your fitting from a micro warp drive to an afterburner. So that is one change. And you're going to change from an eagle tracking computer to a C-type battery. Now the reason for the C-type battery is you're going to need more capacitor to sustain your regen of your armor, because your regen is going to be extremely severe and you want to be able to recover quite quickly and keep up that high rate of combat without having to have to dock off to recharge cap. Okay, in terms of rigs, now depending on whether you're going long range or short range, you're going to want to follow this carefully. For the long range combat, it's double extension and 1 damage unit. So double extension and 1 damage. You're wondering why I didn't add anything to the defense for the long range build. You have double mediums. You aren't really running into too much of an efficiency problem. Armor repairers aren't that heavy on your cap like shield boosters, so you don't really have to worry about improving their efficiency too much. You could always change out the damage and put it as more range for your vessel to give you 3 times the range, or you could even go with something else in that last slot like an efficiency booster to your armor repair to keep your armor more stable. Okay, moving on, the last 3 things for the close range is going to be your engineering rigs. Engineering rigs stay similar on all vessels. 1 auxiliary thruster, 1 semiconductor control, and 1 capacitor control circuit. If you do decide to go with the shield build, you might think of changing one of those fittings from a capacitor control circuit to another semiconductor control to improve the overall amount of cap that you have on your vessel. Now let's go for the brawler fit. For the brawler fit, you don't need to improve your extension of range. You need to improve the amount of recovery that you go with each armor rep. So each armor rep will now receive the additional boost from Repair Rig 3, and they will also be 30% more efficient in terms of the reduction from capacitor. So those are your first two, and last of all, you're going to give it a nice bonus boost to firepower. So a damage boost as your third rig. Now that is what you're going to do for the brawler. The brawler needs more effective shield, not shield, sorry, more effective armor. The more effective defense for your ship, the longer it can last in combat, especially if you're brawling. Okay, so that is it for the tornado. I hope you have enjoyed this video. See you.